affects every one of us.
These days, it's getting harder and harder to find savings. But you may have more cash than you realize in your home's equity. Unlock it today with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage. In the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. That means you could unlock thousands of dollars from your home. And with Rocket Mortgage, you could get all that cash in as little as 3 weeks. Put your hard-earned money to work. Pay down high-interest debt and combine your balances into one simple, low monthly payment. Now is your perfect opportunity to take control of your financial future. So what are you waiting for? When you want to consolidate debt and simplify your finances, Rocket can. Call 8338-ROCKET today or go to rocketmortgage.com to get started. That's 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. MLS consumer access.org 3030. Call 800-490-1233 for disclosures and cost information.
There's 3 things we can do for people. Prayer, in the first place, prayer. Sacrifice is number 2. And then the third place, we used to say very much in the third place, action. You first prayed for them. You prayed for yourself. You had to say how to bring this about. And you've offered some spiritual sacrifice for them.
It's the Gail Clark Show. Join the conversation. 5 p.m. Central on Relevant Radio.
Because we're not the average law firm. Habas Law is a big law firm with lots of lawyers, but it operates like a tight-knit family unit. And we treat our clients like they are part of that family. I'm Tariq Habas, attorney at law. And I'm Omar Habas. Omar is my dad, and now you know why I'm in these commercials. You're also an amazing lawyer. I had a good teacher. Our law firm isn't happy until our client is happy. When something bad happens to you, our job is to make things good again. We go toe-to-toe with big corporations and insurance companies. And we never give up. We never back up. We never blink, because we fight on the winning side. We fight on your side. We hope you're never injured in an accident. But if you are, we've got a number that is easily remembered. 1-800-INJURED. I'm Omar Habas, and I want to be your advocate. HABBASlaw.com.
These days, it's getting harder and harder to find savings. But you may have more cash than you realize in your home's equity. Unlock it today with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage. In the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. That means you could unlock thousands of dollars from your home. And with Rocket Mortgage, you could get all that cash in as little as 3 weeks. Put your hard-earned money to work. Pay down high-interest debt and combine your balances into one simple, low monthly payment. Now is your perfect opportunity to take control of your financial future. So, debt and simplify to get started. That's 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. MLS consumer access.org 3030. Call 800-490-1233 for disclosures and cost information.
Work out. Right now, Smart and Final has pork back ribs for just $4.99 a pound.
Plan change. Instead of a cookout, everyone gets a 4-day weekend.
Good thing I bought to-go containers. Smart and Final. One trip and that's it.
Commercial.
You're getting to see things that you normally wouldn't see, and you're getting to hear the history of these places in a way that I don't think, even if you are a local history buff already, you probably never heard this this unique spin on them, on these stories that I try to give them. So if you're thinking about joining one of these tours, go for it, I say, because they, like Brian mentioned earlier, they do always sell out, and we've got limited supplies for the tour on July 31st. Link 1-800-439-5732. Once again, that's 1-800-439-5732.
They just had their grand reopening last weekend at their new location on Middlefield Road. Free museum tours and up-close meetings with various wildlife. So they had a great time out there. It's been out there for like 90 years. And with the new renovations and all, you know what? That's fun for the whole family. Check it out, right? And I can't get enough. Rihanna's on the way inside another long set of today's hits.
Fast as Xfinity Internet. Well, it's beyond gig speed fast, so you feel like you're in the game. It can also connect hundreds of devices at once, which is powerful enough to power hundreds of views. He's not kidding. No, I'm actually not. Unbeatable internet only from Xfinity. Made to do anything, so you can do anything.
Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi and get a new Xfinity 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited gig internet, risk-free with no term contract and a 2-year rate guarantee. A free streaming box, Wi-Fi equipment included, and add Xfinity Mobile. That's fast internet at home, a free entertainment experience, and the most reliable 5G wireless network nationwide. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Actual speeds vary. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices. Xfinity Mobile utilizes the network with the most root metrics. 5G reliability wins in 2H 2021.
Where you can save just by being you. DriveWise in the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback. And by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safeguarding discounts. Conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Say phooey to bank fees. Get free checking from Star One. See why Star One has been named the #1 credit union 7 years in a row. For great loans and free checking, go to star1.org. Come start treat with Star One.
Start your summer by going green with the ultimate outdoor cooker, the Big Green Egg. Nothing beats the Big Green Egg when grilling or barbecuing. No other outdoor cooker can match the versatility and eco-friendliness of the Big Green Egg. From searing a steak at 750-plus degrees or smoking your ribs low and slow, everything tastes better on the egg. Ultra Supply Hardware is your Big Green Egg headquarters with a huge selection of all sizes of egg accessories. Impress your guests with the Big Green Egg from Osh. Stop by any of the 12 Osh locations today or visit BigGreenEgg.com.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. I'm Nhl Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Charlton of Big C Sports. Coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me and US Sports. And that's all that counts. Rondo the Cortez. Bonjour de Vidi Vidi Beach. I love saying welcome to the show. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade. Go branded to the world when you can buy and test drive yours. Tell them Charlton of Big C Sports Center, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars on a beautiful May the 18th, 2022. We have a big game in Northern California tonight. The Dallas Mavericks coming to town to get knocked out by the Golden State Warriors. And that's what we're hoping for, at least here in Northern California. But all around the world, you can follow Big C Sports on 23 podcast applications, on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, CastBox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, and also I got to catch my breath for a little bit. It's hard to count to 10. Try it sometimes. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast on GeoSavan out of London, England. You can find us on Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, WePod, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbake, Verbal Podcast, and the only one that scares me is AllFeast.ai. Give that some praise. The robots are taking over. Hopefully they don't turn us off when they get tired of us. If that makes sense to you. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast streaming on 4 TV applications called OTT, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. But you better have a smart TV, or you'll be sitting there looking at a still picture. My show is a little bit different today. I love giving my family praise, from my great-grandparents to my beautiful grandparents. I can always depend on my mama. I love saying today is a sports show. My beautiful mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe, started a Head Start program, a food program to feed people, and also the only woman at the time in California to coach the Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Give mama some praise. A Head Start program, a food program, and win the Little League championship of the universe. I love saying that, always condemned on my mama. I love giving homage, paying homage to my father, former retired Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, making sure planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. Actually, in the Air Force, his roommate was the late Al Freeman Jr., who played the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the movie Malcolm X, written and produced by the great Spike Lee and acted by my favorite actor, the great Denzel Washington. Really do appreciate that. My father always said, develop your mind to its highest extent. And then my beautiful daughter, Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe, a college graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years, actually set up the very first interview with Big C Sports back at Salem Media. Really do appreciate what Daisy was able to do. And then working with me when college coaches would come to the West Coast to do work with Big C Sports. Really do appreciate her. Love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my very handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. A college student, sophomore, very smart. I have to tell you, Malcolm, Wakanda forever. You can be anything you want to be in life. Love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Malcolm actually helped me save trees. I used to take the newspaper and look up stats for sports. Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? I said, that's a pretty smart thing to do. So now I can Google everything, but oftentimes sends me stats on NBA basketball, knows NBA basketball inside and out. Really do appreciate you, Malcolm. You can do anything you want to do. And then Big C, with all his knowledge over the years, always saying you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. I love saying welcome to the show. ESPY-nominated Big C Sports Podcast. No scripts, no three-way teleprompters, no producer in my ear. My show is fresh every day like Krispy Kreme. I like going out to Krispy Kreme, sometimes standing in a long line, but I'm kind of impatient. I talk fast, I think fast, I do things fast. And I remember one time standing in line, it was so long, by the time I got to the front of the line, I said, I don't need a bag, just pour it in my hand. And it burned like lightning. So I said, ouch. They said, sir, that's why it's company policy to put the hot donuts in the bag. But my show is fresh. I do it one time a day. It's not like a lot of shows that will loop their shows 3 and 4 times a day. I do it one time a day, and some people say, thank God for that. But it's all stand-up, and what I really love doing, Big C Sports Podcast. The best part of waking up is Big C Coffee in your cup. Big C Sports will often be soon to be sponsored by Starbucks, and really do appreciate that. They don't really advertise, but they're going to be doing some advertising for Starbucks. I always honor God. I walk and talk by faith and not by sight. I produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast the shows. I do all of the sound effects based on what's provided by the agency. We can all use more laughter in our lives. Really do appreciate that. And then the commercials are done. The stats provided. The storytelling. What we're going to hear tonight is Steph Curry for 3. Klay Thompson for 3. Jordan Poole for 3. Andrew Wiggins for 3. I love it. I love basketball. It's amazing, the atmosphere in San Francisco tonight. And then upload the show. It goes out to 23 multiple podcast applications out of New York City, all around the world, and then 4 TV platforms. Really do appreciate that. I love saying, started Big C Sports back in September 12, 2015 with the crew and never missed a show. I think I'm one of the only sports shows in the universe that always honors God. I walk and talk by faith and not by sight. And I go back to what I heard a lot growing up in Genesis chapter 13, verse 15. It said, for all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. And the book of James, chapter 4, verse 2, said, you have not because you ask not. If you want something, you just got to ask. The answer is either yes or no, but it's always no if you don't ask. So make sure you do that. I believe that in Romans 4:17, you speak things that be not as though they were. You got to do that. The book of James, chapter 4, verse 2, said, you have not because you ask not. I love asking. I also want to say, in the book of Exodus, some people are afraid of public speaking. It's amazing. Bart is a beautiful thing in the Bay Area. But some people are afraid of public speaking. It goes back to when Moses met God. And God said to Moses, according to Scripture, go down there and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And Moses said to God, well, who do I tell him sent me? And God said, tell him I am sent you. That makes sense, yeah. But Moses was also nervous of public speaking. And he said, well, I'm kind of nervous and I don't know what to say. Can you find someone to do it? And according to Exodus 4:12, God told Moses, I will help you speak and I'll tell you what to say. Just give God praise when you want to do something. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. I also want to give out a betting helpline for people who gamble too much. It's called 800 Gamblers. It was given out first, that I noticed, by former 49er football coach Steve Mariucci during the NFL playoffs. There are a lot of people who just bet too much on sports, and they get in over their head. I believe if you're going to bet, just be careful. I play Lotto, where there's Fantasy 5, Powerball, Mega Millions, the Super Lotto. Whatever it is, I still got to win that thing. I keep giving them my money. I believe I won the lottery already. So just be careful, 800 Gambler, if you know anybody going through issues. Also, I want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, let there be light, open your cell phones or electronic devices, and just say play Big C Sports Podcast you will see the app pop up all over the world, and I really do appreciate that. Google Forbes magazine top sports agents for last year. They generated over $41.2 billion in contracts. That's over $2 billion in commissions. Working on completing my sports marketing certification for that, and that's a lot of good things coming from Big C Sports. I love also doing something near and dear to my heart. I love giving praise to the Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. If you know any veteran going through issues, it could also be the person in the mirror. Pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255, or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net, and give our veterans and first responders some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. I also want to say thank you to Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% honest game. Sports fans, when you're watching the Warriors tonight, if you want to have the Big C sponsored Budweiser Zero with 0 alcohol, 100% honest game, I'm telling you, that's safer when you want to drink and drive. Don't drink anything but alcohol and drive. And when you're watching the big game, you want to eat the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's called an exotic meat. And rumor has it, it tastes better in your mouth than it does in your hand. I guarantee most things in life taste better in your mouth than they do in your hand. Really do appreciate that. Coming soon to Big C Coffee to a cup near you. The only complaint is, why does the cup have to be so big? I always say, take what you don't. For the rest of the smaller cup. I like big cups, and I can't lie. I love that. It only comes in one size, extra large. Really do appreciate that. There's a lot of funny things about the coffee and now being able to do some work with Starbucks. So I just want to tell you, before I get into the NBA tonight here in beautiful downtown San Francisco, I actually have a special guest that's going to be calling in shortly, and I really do appreciate her. There's so many people that deal in the world of astrology and sports. Well, sports astrology with Andrea Mallis, she's amazing. I'm going to have her on the show in just a moment. I'm going to take what's called a Big C pause, also known as a Big C timeout, in the words of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe and 4 TV applications streaming on called OTT. So as I was telling you, today is a beautiful day in the Bay Area. It's sitting on the dock of the bay. The Golden State Warriors are looking for their 8th championship appearance in the 8 years, their 6th championship appearance in 8 years. They've already been to 5 in a row. They've been out last couple of years, COVID, and then everything else happened with injuries, Klay Thompson, of course. And now they're back in action. They made it to the Western Conference Finals, as I predicted they would. I have Andrea Mallis, and she's into something that a lot of athletes believe in. It's called astrology. Not everybody does, but she's different. She's unique and very prophetic. She's going to talk to us about sports astrology, and then why so many athletes are into this that may be somewhat second nature to athletes, but kind of hidden to the main population. Andrea, how are you? And thank you for being on the show today.
Good. Thank you for the opportunity to be an astrological service. Appreciate it.
So tell us about sports astrology compared to regular astrology. How did you get into that, and what is that about?
Yes. Let's see. I became a baseball fan in 1973 during the Mets You Gotta Believe season.
Yep.
My brother taught me baseball, and I was always, a baseball fan since then.
Okay.
Moved to the Bay Area in '83 to go to Cal, and studied astrology at the Mother Peace School in Oakland with Vicki Noble around my Saturn return, 89-90.
Okay.
And I was at an A's game in early 2000, and I saw Barry Zito, one of the pitchers, warming up in the outfield doing yoga. And it's like, wow, a new generation of baseball players have evolved.
Yes.
So I ran his chart. I was curious.
Okay.
Sun in Taurus. Suppose Uranus in Scorpio, so outside the box, nonconformist. I figured, everyone else has their opinion. I have mine. I called in the post-game show.
Yep.
I think it was called the Astrology Minute. And it was a hit, and they signed me up to kind of do that and talk about whose bat is heating up, who's injury prone.
Right.
And it kind of caught on because sports astrology, basically, the old paradigm is rewarding past performance.
Yes.
The new paradigm looks at future performance in a more holistic and enlightening way. Basically, timing is everything. And baseball players, like other athletes, always looking for the competitive edge.
Yep.
Little superstitious. It's not superstition. It's a metaphysical science.
Yep.
But they're looking for that competitive edge, and they're very open.
Okay.
So I would sit in the stands at the Oakland Coliseum and talk with Barry Zito's mom, who is very spiritual and open, and talk about his charts. She'd give the info to Barry.
Okay.
And that kind of evolved organically. And then, I was during also the Moneyball era.
Okay.
I remember sitting in the stands when they filmed part of the movie. And I would just, go to Giants games and do work with Chris Lincecum, his father.
What do you know about?
He would turn down 5 years, $100 million extension, and Chris would be like, "Why is he doing that?" It's like, well, he's a Gemini. He doesn't want to be hemmed in.
So let me ask you this question,
New beginnings, and astrology's a permission giver. It's all about optimum timing. You have free will, but I'd rather, being a Virgo, I'd rather know optimum opportunities to alert me to make the most of things and mitigate any challenges.
Let me ask you this question, Andrea.
I was on ESPN and NBC Sports Bay Area in California, CBS News Sunday morning on Super Bowl Sunday, and I'm the sports sorceress. Check this out on Fox Sport Radio, the Ben Maller Show.
Okay, so let me ask you a question then. You've obviously worked with a lot of athletes, from Lincecum and Zito. Tonight is a big game in the Bay Area. Dallas Mavericks wasn't expected to be here. They upset the Phoenix Suns. And the Golden State Warriors, they finished number 3 in the Western Conference, but I picked them to win the NBA championship. I hope I'm right about that. So, you know some things about Coach Steve Kerr. He's actually been out because of COVID last couple of games. He's also won Pac-10 championships at University of Arizona with Lute Olson, the late Lute Olson. He played on the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan, been a part of the San Antonio Spurs organization under Greg Popovich, and now he's been I would say, the Maverick of a coach, if that makes sense, playing the Mavericks tonight for the Golden State Warriors, and he's been such a winner. What do you know about him when it comes to sports astrology as well?
Yes, I have his chart and Steph Curry's. Steve Kerr was born September 27, 1965 in Beirut, Lebanon.
Yep.
I don't know an accurate birth time. A lot of times I don't. I have a birth time for Steph Curry, which is cool.
Okay.
We'll get to that soon. So he's a Libra, and, he had this difficult Saturn square Mars transit, which is about frustration, limitation, feeling thwarted and blocked.
Yep.
And hello, COVID protocol. Yeah.
Right.
So, he was, he cleared it now. He cleared the health and safety protocol.
Yeah, definitely in time.
Big cheaper and very careful, if you have on a team. So, we need him to sit home and watch, but the symptoms weren't that bad. And now he's back to full strength. But Saturn square Mars is energy, assertion, aggression, an important planet for an athlete and people in the athletic world. Saturn can be discipline, limitation, restriction.
Yes.
So when we have Saturn square, difficult aspect Mars, our power feels somewhat frustrated, restricted, and blocked. This too shall pass, but I'm sure it was difficult for him, with the timing, to have that transpire.
Well,
but
Andrea,
he's back,
let me
and
ask
that's
you
really
this.
very positive.
Let me ask you,
and
Andrea.
we're glad to see him back. And Steph Curry, March 14, 1988,
Yes.
1:51 p.m., Akron, Ohio. And curious, LeBron was also born in Akron, Ohio.
Same hospital, I believe.
And I actually did Steph Curry's chart several years ago. I think it was called Chronicle Live.
Yes.
Charlton, they had this show on, I guess it was Comcast Sportnet back in the day.
That's right.
And I did his chart, and he was totally open. He was a Pisces. So totally open to the deeper mysteries of life.
Okay.
Really receptive and very empathetic and emotional.
Right.
That was kind of fun. And right now, timing's everything. Mars is in Pisces. And as I said, Mars is a crucial planet for an athlete.
Okay.
Rules energy, assertion, aggression. Mars is in Pisces, conjuncting his sun in Pisces. And that happens, check this out, once every 2 years.
Really?
So we are liking the timing of this.
I love the timing of it.
It's high energy, basically.
I love it. I love the timing of it.
And it's very good for competition.
Yes.
And power and aggressive self-assertion. How do you like that? Self-confidence.
That's amazing.
Increased willpower.
Well, let me ask you this, Andrea. I don't know if you can hear me well, but I want to make sure we have a few minutes left. When it comes to sports, and you just talked about Steph Curry, Lipscomb, also Zito, Coach Kerr. There are so many great things. In fact, LeBron James and Steph Curry, I believe, were born in the same hospital in Akron, Ohio.
Yes, correct. Yes.
And so now coming off of the COVID, the Bay Area is so lucky for the 49ers to be here, and they made the NFC Championship game last year. They're one of the winningest football franchises in the NFL. Golden State Warriors, one of the winningest franchises in NBA, their 75th year anniversary. They came from Philadelphia. I was thinking maybe they would play Philadelphia. And then obviously the A's have also winning history. And of course there's Stanford and Cal. But this thing about Golden State moving back across the bay from Oakland back to San Francisco where they originally came, that has energized the Bay Area with Chase Center downtown. You have the Giants play at the beautiful now Orca Ballpark. What is it about the city that has produced so many great stories? 49ers, Golden State Warriors, San Francisco Giants. What is it about the city that has made that happen with the astrology, if that makes sense to you?
Yeah, I'd actually like to look at the incorporation date of when the, when the Warriors began, when they moved to San Francisco. I'd like to do my Virgo due diligence. Yeah. And I actually went to Chase Center a couple years back when it was new. It was the Grateful Dead on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
How do you like that? And it was beautiful. Good. I really liked Chase Center a lot. So I think they landed in a great home. And,
yes.
So they're having viewing parties. And I just saw a commercial for the post-game show.
Yes.
And Draymond Green, the Pisces, was saying, appreciate the greatness, this may not last forever. And he was like really powerful about it and, had good mojo. And he was just applauding the support from Dub Nation.
Yeah,
so I'm glad to see that, kind of transferred across the Bay. And I'm glad they're in the Bay Area.
From the late Nate Thurman and, just so many great people that have come. Chris Mullen here, part of the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. Obviously, when you think about Run TMC back in the day, I also love the fact that even Mark Jackson started his run with Golden State. Now he does a lot of broadcasting for Golden State Warriors games. And when I think about it, there's so many people that want to be a part of this now. And I love being this part of Bay Area history. But in the next few minutes, tell me briefly, what other national sports shows have you been on? I know you've done some work with other networks, ESPN, etc. Go ahead and talk about that for a minute if you can.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely been on ESPN. That was fun. And on the Sports Sorceress on Fox Sport Radio.
Yes.
All the Bay Area, I think it's called NBC Sports Bay Area, yep. NBC Sports California.
Yep.
So I've been on their shows.
Okay.
All A's and GMAC. And KNBR,
yep.
and 95 in the game,
wow.
Fox Sport Radio,
okay.
CBS Sports Radio, currently the Sports Sorceress on the Ben Maller Show at Fox Sport Radio.
Okay.
And, it was on ESPN Radio, Jason Smith. I'm a night owl, as we talked about, so I'm always up late,
yep.
Working on my charts,
right.
calling in. So it's great. The Bay Area is super into sports. We got some wonderful teams.
Yes.
I mean, the A's are kind of in transition. It's interesting to look at that. So, just a lot of different TV, radio stations, the New York Times, that was cool,
yep.
the Chronicle, East Bay Times,
well,
the New York Daily News.
You've been
in fact, I was just looking through my website.
Yes.
In 2015, Charlton, I was interviewed by Rusty Simmons,
okay.
who's the beat writer of the Chronicle for the Warriors.
Okay. That is amazing.
I was like, oh, wow, that's, a while ago. Yeah, so I was interviewed by him.
Okay.
And I talked about astrologer sees good things for Curry. So I noted that. And sure enough, they had a great season.
Yep.
And I know Pisces is interesting. It rules the feet. So sometimes that's a little sensitive area.
Right.
For Pisces. I just wanted to put that out there to the universe.
Everyone could use a good foot rub in the universe. Before we close, and I'm so delighted to talk to you. We've had so many conversations. with all the networks that you've been on, it's amazing that I think you saved the best for last. At least I want to think so. Tell me what you know about myself, Charlton, Big C Sports. You've been on so many other powerful media outlets. And I would like to know, just be very candid, what you also feel. Like, why are we talking right now? How did that happen? And I'm so grateful that it has happened. Go right ahead.
Yeah, Charlton, I think our paths crossed. I'm the sports astrologer for astrology.com.
Yes.
So I think our paths might have crossed when I posted the article on Twitter.
Yes.
I also have been doing a podcast with a colleague, Cesar Love, called Love Sports Astrology.
Okay.
And I think I posted that as well. That could have been on the Giants' first female coach to take the field, Alyssa Nakin.
Right.
I think we might have connected on that as well. And yeah, so that could. Do you remember which one it might have been?
There's so much that goes on. I'm sure I'll find it, but I don't want to be disingenuous. But I know you and I talk a lot. In the last minute, if we can, just speak out to the universe. As I always say, the universe with the lightning bolt, if that makes sense. Give me your thoughts about Big C Sports. I grew up around sports, been a part of it. I love it. I eat, live, sleep, and breathe it. Give me your feeling about some things that I can look forward to. I know you've done the chart for me.
Oh, yes. September 5th, 1964, 9:25 a.m., Madera, California. Wow, 5 planets in Virgo. Well, you'll get the job done, won't you?
I hope so.
Very meticulous, detailed, analytical, detail-oriented, Libra rising, grace and harmony, balance, artistic. And you're having your second Saturn return. That happens, first one at 29, second one around 58, which is new beginnings.
Yes.
And, yeah, I mean, I'm a fellow Virgo.
I love
it. You know, I appreciate your work ethic and your attention to details and always wanting to be of service and enlighten people and be very, organized and practical and enlighten people. And if I could say my contact info, being Virgo in service.
Wonderful.
Yeah, if people want to contact me, virgoinservice.com, Andrea at Virgo in Service. Twitter, I think that's where we met.
Yes, yep.
Goddess Bless, Twitter, at Virgo in Service. And voicemail, they can leave a message anytime, 510-874-4911, 510-874-4911. Twitter is probably one of the more popular applications, but certainly the website and email, Andrea at virgoinservice.com, virgoinservice.com. From one Virgo to another, I appreciate the opportunity to be of astrological service. And, yeah, may the basketball gods and goddesses bless, and timing is everything. And
I agree.
Put out some good mojo for the Warriors.
Yep.
And, look forward to the game tonight.
Let's do it. Let's make millions. Let's make millions of dollars, health, wealth, and wisdom for everybody that loves sports. The great Andrea Mallis. Really do appreciate you being on Charlton with Big C Sports. I thank you and I appreciate it. I'm going to take this call to Big C Sports to come back. But that's Andrea Mallis, Sports Astrology. Look her up. She's actually amazing. We'll take the Big C call and be back in just a moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to be of astrological service.
Thank you so much. Seconds, and just do the best you can. Here we go. All right, we are back from the Big C Pulse, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe and streaming on 4 TV applications called OTT, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the sports universe. I have a beautiful day here in Northern California, getting ready for the Warriors and the Dallas Mavericks in town at beautiful Chase Center tonight. But I also have a sports nutrition is so important to all of us, and I have a great called Mama of Sports, Mama of 7, and a nutrition ambassador, and she actually loves the Golden State Warriors. But tell me, why should I put down donuts, Miss Lorine Haley, and why is sports nutrition so important? If you don't mind sharing that with the audience, go right ahead, please.
Again, this is Lorine Haley, and I just feel like our community is really just unaware of the things that we put into our bodies.
Yep.
We have to supplement, with vitamins and,
Yeah.
Supplement with, how we eat. I truly believe, we are what we eat.
Yeah, we are what we eat. That's for sure.
Yeah. I definitely really encourage, what we put into our bodies more so.
Yep.
Than working out.
Yep.
I mean, working out is like 20%, but 80% is definitely, a lot of what we put into our bodies.
So, Lorine, let me ask you this question, Lorine. When you look at an athlete on television, obviously football players have to eat a lot of red meat. They're big and strong and not as fast. Basketball players are usually tall and thin and lean, and then track players, they're usually very thin and lean. Can you look at someone and tell how their diet is, if they're a healthy eater or maybe not so healthy of an eater? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally can. I actually had gotten a lot of, just what I do and how I do from an actual ex-pro basketball player who was playing basketball at overseas.
Okay.
So a lot of, just his demeanor and how he looked, similar body, figures like that. He's a vegan.
Okay.
So, just he talks about a lot of staying away from those red meats, but his body is definitely lean and tall. And
now hold on, Lorine. Don't talk bad about my red meat, okay? Give me time to wean myself off of it, all right? I can't do it all overnight. Red meat and collard greens, I grew up on that stuff all the time. But I want to tell you something. Just before we close out, I know being a mama of 7, obviously that keeps you busy. You got to have a lot of energy. So you're really big on nutrition. And people can Google you and find out who you are. That's Lorine Hockey. And just before we go, and again, I thank you for being the nutrition ambassador. And being a mama of 7, you know how to keep those kids' mouths fed. Does that make sense to you? Absolutely. So before we go, I want to ask you, who is your favorite sports team? If you can say that loud and proud.
Oh, the Golden State Warriors!
Golden State Warriors? Well, that's an easy question. I'm going to ask you a hard question, and always tell the truth. Who is your favorite sports broadcaster?
Oh, my goodness. That is a no-brainer. Big C Sports.
Big C Sports. I appreciate that. Well, Lorine Hockey, I think you're amazing. Mama of 7 nutrition ambassador. Really do appreciate you following Big C Sports. Follow us down the road as the Golden State Warriors will hopefully come out to play. That's the great Lorine Hockey, and she's a Mama of 7 nutrition ambassador, and she loves the Golden State Warriors. This is Big C Sports. I'm going to take us call the Big C Pause. After I come back, I'm going to talk more about what's going on with the big game tonight in San Francisco. I'll be back in just a moment. All right, we're back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all across the universe and streaming on 4 TV applications. Really do appreciate that. Today was beautiful. May the 18th, 2022. Just had some great guests on the show. Really do appreciate their help in being sports fanatics. Really do appreciate Andrea Mallis. What a great job she does with sports astrology. Just a lot of athletes are into sports astrology, wanting to figure out how they can be a part of making their sports game better. And Lorine Hockey, she's actually a very talented networker, entrepreneur, very big into fitness, mother of 7, fabulous. So I really do appreciate having them on the show and giving them some praise. Give them praise. Really do appreciate that. And when I think about what happens in the world of sports, I love so much being here in beautiful Northern California, living up here in Northern California, being able to cover games in Northern California. There's just so much going on in the world of sports. Last night, obviously, the NBA world turned to the south part of Florida. They saw the great Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat overpower the Boston Celtics 118-107. It was a Game 1 block party. They did fall behind early, and at halftime, they had a dominant third quarter from the great Jimmy Buckets Butler, and they go up to a 1-0 lead over the Boston Celtics. Butler proved that he continues to be one of the NBA's best players, and he's been doing it for years. It's amazing that Philadelphia let him go, but he's one of the best players in the NBA. Already led Miami to the finals when they lost to the Lakers down in the bubble, but he beat down the Boston Celtics with 41 points It was a 118-107 win, and they were down at halftime. But it was a big victory at home. It is 40, think about this, 40 points, the third time that he's done that in these playoffs. He's a 6'7" swingman. You could swear you're watching Michael Jordan the way he plays. He's dropping 25 points in the postseason per game, shoots over 50%, and the guy's really unstoppable when you think about it. Even told Jason Tatum a couple of times, that stinking sensation you're feeling, that's pride messing with you. And he said, forget pride, if that's what makes sense to you. But I think about Butler, what he did for the Miami Heat. They're a very good team. They are the number one seed in the East. And right now, the Golden State Warriors are the 3 seed going into the playoffs. But they're really the best team in basketball, in my opinion, number one in my book. But Butler, what he did for the Miami Heat last night, did his lion's share of work on the offense. They were firing on all cylinders. Miami's defense was pretty tough. They were all over Jason Tatum, held him to 29 points. I know that Horford and Smart were out for the Celtics. They were missing those two great starters. Smart with the foot issue, and Horford out of safety protocol jumped out to an early 8-point halftime lead. And I was thinking that maybe they might just run away with it over the Miami Heat. But it looks like they got a little bit fatigued. And Boston star Jason Tatum, he was spectacular in the first half, dropping in. I think he had 19 points in the first half alone, but they slowed him down in the second half as they put a lot of bodies on him. But Boston was ahead by as much as 13 points at one point. Butler dropped 27 of his 41 points. Think about that in the second half of the game. But, of course, no Smart, no Horford, so that might make a big difference. They may be back later in the series, but if Miami goes up 2-0 in this series, it might be over. Ironically, when you think about this, I love so much about NBA basketball. Tatum was red hot in the first half. Jimmy Butler was red hot in the second half. And oftentimes, that's what you need because it's a game of swings. You think about Udoka for the Boston Celtics. He's good at strategizing, getting his players in the right place at the right time. And also Eric Spoelstra does the same thing for the Miami Heat. I'm telling you, something about Butler that turned on that Michael Jordan mentality in the second half, and that carried them to the win over the Boston Celtics. And that's why they're going to be such a tough out for Boston. There's still a lot of pundits who feel that Boston will win. I'm leaning on Miami, the team that wins the game one of a series. They win about 75% of the time. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. All you got to do is get one road win, and the Warriors have done that when they went down and got a game from Memphis. But I think about Miami. The best of Miami's 12 blocks came from Bam Adebayo, who was amazing. And he shadowed Boston's Jaylen Brown, actually, all the way to the basket, and also had a fantastic block against him, jamming the ball into the corner of the rim. But it's so amazing to see these tall, beautiful athletes running up and down the court. But they have fundamentally sound defense in Miami. So does Boston. These two teams are evenly matched. I think Jaylen Brown finally came to life for Boston in the fourth quarter. He dropped 15 of his 24 points in the game, but it was a little bit too little too late. Also, when you look at Miami, Kyle Lowry, he missed yet another game because of a hamstring issue down in Miami. A lot of guys get hamstring issues when they're running around on the South Beach. If that makes sense to you. The great Tyler Herro dropped 18 points and 8 rebounds off the bench, showing flashes of how he played as a rookie, dropping 37 points on Boston in the 2020 matchup. But that's the way the ball bounces. Sometimes you're going to have players that are out. You're going to have players who have a little bit of hitch in their giddy-up, and that's how the ball bounces. But you got to credit Miami. They could have been blown out and looked like they were going to be blown out, but they went into the halftime, and they turned things around. And now they have Game 2 coming up. That's going to take place Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN at FTX Arena, which is a great arena, even though they have a later routing crowd, kind of like the LA Lakers. Game 2, Boston will likely rely more on Jaylen Brown to fill the point guard duties and alleviate some of the pressure from the great Jason Tatum. Miami's going to continue to put pressure on and try to adjust for any changes that Boston will do, and that's going to happen. We'll see that on Thursday. I love basketball. These great players, these great teams showing us everything that it takes to be an NBA champion, and that's what I love about the game. You play to win the game. We've heard that so many times. In Miami last night, they played, especially in the second half, like a champion. You don't want to lose that game one at home, and so it's so big of them to go into the locker room, do whatever they have to do to come out and get a win. So congratulations, Miami. Pat Riley, you good old boys. Spoelstra, you guys got your first win in the Eastern Conference Finals. But Boston, they're a good team, and they'll be back. I want to bring you out to Northern California. San Francisco, City by the Bay. I'm telling you, there's so much about leaving your heart to San Francisco, and that's what the Golden State Warriors are hoping that the Dallas Mavericks do when they come to town. They're already in town tonight. Beautiful Chase Center. The Warriors and the Mavericks, Game 1, Western Conference Finals. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Draymond Green, and Andrew Wiggins. I'm telling you, keep an eye on Wiggins. He might be a big difference in this. I think Golden State runs deep. The Western Conference Finals tips off tonight. Beautiful Chase Center, just south of downtown San Francisco. Golden State Warriors and Dallas Mavericks scaring us. I've never seen so many cowboy boots in San Francisco. And they're real rattlesnake, too. There's not that fake stuff. But people expected the Warriors to make it this far. I was one of them. Some people had Phoenix. Others had Memphis. But Golden State's the better team. And I said that from start to finish. And I expect the Warriors to come out and win Game 1 by double digits tonight, given their championship pedigree. But they got to cut down on the turnovers. If you have 20 turnovers in this game tonight, you might be looking at a tougher win than you expect. They could get away with maybe 10 turnovers. But when you're having 20 turnovers like they were doing against Memphis, you can't do that as a championship team. You're not Joe Montana, Steve Young, Colin Kaepernick, Jimmy Garoppolo. Quit trying to throw the court-to-court pass. Just give the safe passes. Don't try to be fancy. It's fundamental basketball that's going to help Golden State win, and that's my opinion. You look at the championship pedigree, going for their 6th final appearance in the last 8 years, and right now we know in this crew with Steve Kerr, they're 3-2 in those finals. Only time that they missed the finals was when Klay Thompson was injured. Isn't that something? I know it's about Steph Curry. I know it's about Draymond Green. Even when Kevin Durant came out to San Francisco, people said they won because of Durant. But the one player that they've gotten back to the finals with is not Kevin Durant. It's Klay Thompson. And he deserves a lot of credit. The man was out for about 2 years. We know he had a lot of issues, but he fought back. Really proud of him. Want to give him a lot of praise coming into the night, Game 1 in the Western Conference Finals. So I look at the Mavericks, got past the top-seeded Phoenix Suns in the previous round to get here. But the Mavericks showed everyone why they should not be written off. While Golden State is favored in this series, I'm actually going with Golden State to win it in 6 games. It might even be, this is what I'm going to say. If they have an 18-plus turnovers, it's going to take them 6 games to win this series. If they have fewer than 10 turnovers in their games, they'll win it in 5 games. I don't think they're going to get a sweep, but they can do a gentleman's sweep the same way they did to the Dallas or to the Denver Nuggets when they had the Joker come out and they gave it a gentleman's sweep. But Golden State, if they're more focused and they're playing better, they should beat Dallas. In the regular season, you can't count the regular season. A lot of the times, Golden State Warriors were injured. But I think about the Mavericks. They showed everyone why they should not be written off. Golden State is favored in this series. Dallas has proven that they are a good team. Everybody's a good team. You always have a chance to win the game, and that's why they play it. But for me, Golden State, glimpses of the world-beating the Warriors tour is called There's Gold in Them There Hills. Gold-blooded is what a lot of the fans are wearing. But the Warriors in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, too many turnovers. And they're still here. They're still here with the turnovers that they have. You can't have a lot of turnovers to win an NBA championship. The turnovers make them stagnant on offense, and it cost Golden State a couple of games en route to the Western Finals. Against a tough defense like the Mavericks, the Warriors cannot afford to take their eye off the ball and open this series. I think they got to go out and get Game 1, but they got to quit turning the ball over so much. It's interesting to see how the Warriors will play Luka Doncic. Don't worry about Luka. The Warriors get 9 men deep. They run the ball around. Everybody gets their hand on the ball, and I like what they're doing. Let Luka get his 30 points a game or 35 points a game. They already tried that with the Joker. It doesn't work. The only thing that Luka can do is pass the ball to his teammates, and sometimes they just don't have the same support. Dallas needs guys like Jalen Brunson and Dorian Finney-Smith and Reggie Bullock to play well, but I don't think they're going to. Golden State's too driven. They've been there before. I think they'll play with more passion. Mike Brown got 13 playoff wins as head coach of the Golden State Warriors, 13-1. The only loss was when they sat all the players down in Memphis before us. They just didn't have their groove back, whatever it was. But Brown's a defensive guru. Coach Kerr is for the offense. They have Coach Kerr back tonight. I think that's going to help Golden State. The crowd would be nuts. They'll have Warriors come out and play. That's going to help them a lot also. But it's all about how intentional you are, making solid passes. I like what Golden State has done all year long. They played through a lot of health problems. Coach Kerr coming out of the COVID protocol, and thankfully he was wise enough not to get other people caught up in that and stayed away. And he trusted Brown to get the team to the promised land, and he got them to the NBA Western Conference Finals. And now Coach Kerr will carry them over the finish line to win the NBA championship, in my opinion. When you think about the NBA and how the integration of NBA, there's only been 6 African-American coaches that won NBA championships in 75 years. Last one was Tyronn Lue with the Miami Heat beat the Golden State Warriors. But I think about this team right now. You have Udoka for Boston Celtics, and you have Jason Kidd for the Dallas Mavericks, and Spoelstra for the Miami Heat, and Steve Kerr for the Golden State Warriors. So 3 minority coaches and 1 white coach in the NBA right now. That shows you the power of integration. It doesn't make you weaker, it makes your league stronger. So I thank the NBA and Adam Silver for embracing diversity, not running from it like a lot of the NFL teams. They run from diversity. It makes you stronger. As hard as it's been for African American to get coaches, they make up 50% of the NBA Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Isn't that something? Give that some praise. When people say, well, are they smart enough to do it? Do they have the intellectual capacity? Are they smart enough? Can they game plan? Well, look at who's in the NBA Eastern and Western Conference Finals. People of color. There's only 1 white coach in all of the finals, East and West, and that's Steve Kerr, a 3-time coaching champion. Won championships with the Chicago Bulls and also the San Antonio Spurs and the Golden State Warriors. So give more people opportunity. That's what I love about Golden State, what they do. I think Game 1 always tends to favor the home team, and the Warriors have been unstoppable at home in the playoffs so far. They only lost 1 home game in the postseason this year. I don't expect them to pick up a loss tonight because, as the great Ryan Stewart sang, tonight, it's going to be all right. Okay, I don't sing like Ryan Stewart. They're saying enough already, enough. I don't sing like the great Ryan Stewart, but I try. Not afraid to try. And I like what the Golden State Warriors can bring to the table. But the only gremlin they've had in their championship runs has been being careless with the basketball. You can't be careless with the basketball if you're going to go on and win another NBA championship. That's what they have to cut down on. That's what they have to focus on. Everybody says they'll have their favorite player. In Dallas, the media is saying Luka Doncic. He's amazing. He's only 23 years old, and he's going to get his 30 points a game, 30, 35 points a game. But he can't beat you by himself. And it's almost insulting to tell Steph Curry, a 3-time NBA champion, the only unanimous NBA champion, and a 2-time NBA champion at that, been to 5 finals in 5 years consecutively, and now trying to make his 6th finals appearance in 8 seasons, and people want to say he's not the best player in the game. They said the same thing about the Joker being the MVP. The Joker's not the MVP. He's watching the game on TV just like a lot of people who said he was the MVP. The MVPs are playing. My opinion of the MVP, Steph Curry's an MVP. Jimmy Butler's an MVP. I want to also say Klay Thompson's an MVP. Draymond Green is an MVP. They've been there and done it before. They've been there and done that before. There's a lot of great athletes out there, but you got to show me something. You got to show me first. That's what I love about the Golden State Warriors. They are showing you over and over again. They're showing everyone in the basketball what it's like to be a champion, and that's why I love giving them praise. They deserve it. They've earned it. They put their heart, mind, body, and soul into it. So everybody be careful when you go out there and you want to bet. I know people talk about point spread and who's going to score, what's going to be the over-under. To me, that doesn't matter as much as who's going to play the better brand of basketball. If you run Dallas around, they got to guard everyone on Golden State, start to finish. Then you get tired by the time the fourth quarter rolls around, just like Memphis, and Memphis got blown out because they can't keep up. Dallas likes to slow the game down. Phoenix doesn't have the same defense that Golden State has. If they come out and they're careless with the ball, that could be the Achilles heel, and you don't want to see that. Maybe the bookies do. That's a clue. If they're under 10 turnovers, they will sweep this series. If they go over 10 turnovers, they'll probably have to win it in 5. If they're having these 18, 19 turnover games, it's going to go 6 games. But I think if they play the way they can play, and Coach Kerr chews that backside as he has to, like lightning, you cut down on the turnovers, be more decisive with your passes. And then I think Golden State is in a great position to win. That's all I have to say about it. I love being beautiful downtown San Francisco. There's a lot of energy and atmosphere in the Bay Area, and you would expect there to be. It's the first finals at Chase Center. Last time they were over at Oracle, and give Oakland some praise for supporting the Warriors for so many years. As a lot of people don't like that they moved to San Francisco. It's more expensive. It's more corporate now, but money talks. That's why the Giants left Candlestick Park, and now they're at Oracle Ballpark. It's a financial district. It's money talks. Chase Center is beautiful. It's a great place to watch a game if you can get in. The cheap seats I'm hearing are going for about $500 in the nosebleeds. And if you go that high, the nose might just bleed. If that makes sense to you. I like sitting around the media. I like being around the crowd. For those of you who are betting on sports, never bet more than you can afford to lose, because that can be risky, and a lot of people don't understand that. That's why they give out 1-800-GAMBLER. Something about the Bay Area with the beautiful BART that drives by. I mean, so many people come here by BART. They cross Interstate 80, the Bay Bridge, or come up Highway 101 to get to beautiful Chase Center. It's a great, great place. And I love being a part of the NBA. I really appreciate the Big Six Sports being part of NBA basketball. Love also saying thank you to Lorine Halley, a nutrition fitness specialist, and works a lot with a lot of great athletes. Really appreciate her coming on the show and talking about Big Six Sports. She even said that Big Six Sports is her favorite sports podcast, and she knows a lot of athletes. Give her some praise for that. And then Andrea Mallis, I'm telling you, so many people love sports astrology, but they don't really know, what does it mean? What does it mean? Andrea Mallis, sports astrology, works with a lot of professional athletes. Really do appreciate her and what she was able to do to come on as a fellow Virgo and Warrior follower, knows all the people in the sports world, and said our favorite sports show is Big C Sports. Give that some praise. She's been on ESPN. She's been on Fox. She's been on the interview by the New York Times. But she said Big C Sports is her favorite sports podcast. And I did not have to pay her to say that. That's the truth. Really do appreciate it. I love so much about sports. It makes me happy. I love everybody that's part of the sports world that makes sports. It's a billion-dollar industry. Boys and Girls Foundation gets people involved in sports. Get the kids involved in sports. Get them out and do something, and let them be happy about where they're going in life. Nhl Hockey is also fabulous. A lot of people skating around on thin ice looking for Lord, Big C, Stanley Cup, May Lightning Strike. Tampa Bay's trying to do their thing. But I love the NHL doing their thing. Colorado Avalanche, or whether you're looking at the Florida Panthers, someone's favorite team might just be the Calgary Flames. Don't go down in flames. We know that could happen to you. St. Louis Blues, they just won Lord Stanley's Cup a couple of years ago. I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are looking very strong to go back and make a lot of noise chasing Lord Stanley's Big C Cup. All send love and war with that. So I just ask everyone, if you're going to go out, please don't drink and drive. I know for some reason, people don't learn their lesson. They just want to go to jail instead of go home. Don't drink and drive. Take care of your life. Take care of the life of other people. Sports is supposed to be fun, but don't go out and drink your life away or put other people to harm. Give people who take away the keys and call Uber or a taxi cab some praise. Take away the keys, call a cab, let people get home safely. I love saying that with Big C Sports. Also, some baseballs going on all over the sports universe, but we all know it's about basketball, and that's why I love getting to the basketball tonight. You can Google all your favorite baseball teams. The pitch, swung on, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run! Say hello to my little friends. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep. You can also Google for your favorite baseball teams. But it's all about the NBA tonight, and everyone, please be safe. Back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Goodine Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you seem like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. With all you've got to use, how can you lose? And Ali would say, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly defeat, because all of these big cheeseburgers make me light at my feet. Coming soon, the Big C pie. It tastes better in your mouth than it does in your hand. A lot of people say, what's all those exotic peaches? You ever have, the peaches are so sweet, Big C. How'd you get the peaches so sweet? I have no idea. They just come out that way. Oh, fair enough, Bridget. Just get the Big C pie coming soon to a restaurant near you. The Big C coffee coming soon to a restaurant near you. Starbucks be sponsoring Big C Sports. Don't really do appreciate that. My beautiful mother always says there's no excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and ask for help, because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go to that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports Show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super, super fantastic day. Warrior, come out and play.